What is going on, guys? It is Tony from Lone Paintball, and today we are talking First Strike Hero 2 tanks.
And why? Because who's the best source for paintball?
Well, you know, it's lonepaintball.com, Mark. You already know that. So, yeah, wow, we've got quite the spread of these First Strike Hero 2 tanks today. These things, in my opinion, some of the best on the market due to the fact they have lifetime bottle capacity. What I mean by that is every 5 years you still have... Come on, Fitz. You already know what I'm talking about. Every 5 years, you still have to get them hydroed, but the bottle is technically good for lifetime. Legal standards, maybe 36 years, but way better than your standard carbon fiber tank. That is a 15-year span. So starting it off with that, these bottles have their special certifications that every 5 to be hydroed, but they're good for lifetime. So
does it say that right on the bottle somewhere?
No, I think you'd actually have to go to the First Strike website, read in the description, but I mean, that's a great factor. You don't have to toss your bottle after 15 years. You can wait for lifetime.
That's
I think,
great.
Like I said, 36 years, whatever it may be. All right, next up, sizes. We've got the big 88, we've got 77, we've got the 68 standard size, and then a 48, also a standard size tank. And then you're looking at your half pints down here. You've got a 17, you've got a 15, and then you have a 13. So the cool thing about these little half pints, I really do like this, that if you have one of the scenario markers that the tank goes in through the stock, any single one of these tanks will fit in there. And plus, these are all 4,500 PSI, meaning you're getting more shots out of the smaller tank than your standard 3K PSI. So First Strike knocked it out of the park with these bad boys. You'll notice here, 4,500 PSI in all of these tanks. A lot of those other smaller 13 cubic inch, they're only 3,000 PSI. So you definitely wanna, you definitely wanna pick one of these bad boys up, not to mention, like I said, about that lifetime tank.
If these are lifetime, that means they've got to be super expensive, like $400 or $500 a tank?
No, any tank on this table ranges anywhere from $205 to $235, depending on the size you want. So they're really not that expensive considering you buy a competitor tank and you got to pitch it after 15 years. So we'll get into that. So 88s, I like this tank. You're going to get a lot of shots out of this bad boy, even with the 77 and then down to your more standard sizes per se. And First Strike even makes like, I think like 120 something, like a huge, it reminds me like a mini scuba tank almost, but we don't have them here today on the table. But First Strike absolutely killing it. I also do like the fact that I think this is the only tank on the market, Mark, that they have a full 360-degree rotational regulator. So depending, you can lift this collar up and spin the actual threading part on here. And depending on how it lands on whatever gun you're using, so the fill nipple or the gauge isn't digging into your wrist, you can simply pull it up and adjust it to however you want, a full 360 degrees, which is a very, very good feature of these tanks.
No, not to mention, nice. Not having to pull out any Allen screws to do it, or
100%. Not to mention this top part as well. I believe it's brass underneath, and then it's nickel plated. So that is a very, very strong, good feature. You're not going to be looking at cross-threading your tank very much with just your standard aluminum. So I do like that feature.
Is that the same regulator on all those tanks then?
Yeah, so pretty much, yeah, these all can be, you can lift these bad boys up and then spin them around. This one's got the thread guard on there, but yeah, same reg on all the tanks.
Okay.
So, yep, fully adjustable, very, very nice, and not to mention they're super sleek.
That's a First Strike regulator though? It's not a Powerhouse? Or
no, this is their own, regulator. It's not Ninja, it's not Powerhouse, it is First Strike's regulator. Speaking of the regulator itself, these things can be adjusted from 300 PSI all the way to 1200 PSI, depending on what you guys are using. So if you guys are using a tournament gun or maybe even an airsoft gun, something like that, you guys can adjust the regulators inside. There will be a separate video on that to whatever you guys need. So, Mark, do you have any other questions for me about these bad boys that are out here on the table?
The 48 to the 88 size tank, are those still standard diameter? So like my existing tank covers and that should fit on all these?
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking big boy 88s, yeah, you're talking in the back end. Yeah, they'll still go over it. Yep, no doubt about it.
Perfect.
So, all right, guys, these are the Hero 2 tanks by First Strike Paintball, and check them out on the website. As always, it is lonewolfpaintball.com.